healthy aging, life after 70, food as medicine, natural health that actually works. Not from a doctor trying to sell you something. Not from an influencer with a ring light. From people who lived past 100 and earned every single word. This is The Art of Aging.
Hi there, welcome to the Art of Aging podcast. Let's jump in.
Something is happening inside your body in the 30 minutes after every meal. A glucose surge, a metabolic spike that over time and over years does quiet damage to your arteries, your kidneys, your brain, and your aging cells. Most people don't know it's happening, and most doctors don't have time to explain it. And the intervention, the one that clinical trials now show can drop post-meal blood sugar as effectively as some diabetes medications, takes 15 minutes and costs nothing. It is a walk, just 2,000 steps after dinner. A neighbor of mine, let's call her Dolores, was 67 years old, sharp-tongued and sharp-minded, and had been told her blood sugar was trending in the wrong direction. Pre-diabetic, her doctor said. Watch your diet. Lose some weight. She went home and did what most people do. She Googled. She cut carbs. She bought a scale. She felt vaguely guilty about everything she ate for 3 weeks, and then stopped thinking about it. Her blood sugar didn't improve. The turning point came at a family dinner at her daughter's house. Dolores had eaten well, chicken, vegetables, a small portion of rice, and her daughter said, almost as an afterthought, "Mom, come walk with me, just around the block. It's only 15 minutes. Dolores grumbled. Her shoes weren't right. Her knees ached. It was getting dark. She went anyway, because her daughter was already standing at the door. The next morning, she borrowed her granddaughter's continuous glucose monitor for 1 day, just to see. She ate the same breakfast she always ate. Didn't walk. Her glucose peaked at 182. The following day, same breakfast, walked 15 minutes afterward. Peaked at 126. Same food, 56 points lower. She sat at her kitchen table and stared at the number for a long time. What Dolores witnessed in her own body is called post-prandial glucose response, and understanding it is one of the most important things any older adult can do. When you eat, particularly when you eat carbohydrates or sugars, your digestive system breaks those foods into glucose, which enters the bloodstream. Your pancreas detects the rise and releases insulin to shepherd that glucose into cells. In a healthy, young metabolism, this happens efficiently. The glucose rises, peaks, and returns to baseline within 90 minutes. But after 60, and increasingly after 70, something called insulin resistance develops. The cells become less responsive to insulin signals. The glucose takes longer to clear. The peak is higher. The duration is longer. And every time that blood sugar spikes above a certain threshold, there are consequences. Inflammatory compounds are produced. Glycation occurs. Glucose molecules binding to proteins and damaging them. And oxidative stress increases throughout the body. This chronic, repeated cycle of high post-meal glucose is now understood to be a central driver of cardiovascular disease, kidney damage, nerve damage, cognitive decline, and accelerated cellular aging. Not just in diabetics, in anyone whose blood sugar regularly surges after meals. And here is what the trials have found. Walking, even gentle walking at a conversational pace within 30 minutes of a meal engages the large muscle groups of the legs, which are among the body's most significant glucose consumers. Muscle contraction activates glucose transporters in cell membranes independently of insulin. The muscles simply vacuum up the available glucose without waiting for insulin signal. A 2022 study in sports medicine found that 2 to 5 minutes of light walking after meals reduced post-prandial glucose response by up to 58% compared to sitting. Other studies using pedometers found that 2,000 steps, approximately 15 minutes at a gentle pace, achieved consistent, clinically meaningful reductions in post-meal blood sugar in adults over 60, including those with type 2 diabetes. This is not a small thing. Endocrinologists spend years and significant healthcare resources trying to achieve these reductions with medication. And a 15-minute walk around the block does it for free, immediately. The protocol is simple enough to start tonight. Here it is. Within 30 minutes of finishing your evening meal, ideally within 15, put your shoes on and walk. 2,000 steps. 15 to 20 minutes at a comfortable, unhurried pace. You should be able to speak in full sentences. This is not exercise. It is metabolic management. The timing matters. The glucose surge begins within 15 to 30 minutes of eating. If you wait an hour, you've missed the window when the muscles can do their most powerful work. Immediately after the meal is when the intervention is most effective. You do not need to walk fast. You do not need special shoes. You do not need a route. Around the block, down the hallway, in a garden. It is the movement that matters, not the destination. If your knees or hips make walking difficult, even marching gently in place, lifting your feet barely off the ground while watching the news, has been shown to engage the glucose transporters and dampen the post-meal spike. The muscle engagement is the mechanism. It does not require speed. And consider this. The evening walk is not only metabolic, it is one of the quietest, most accessible windows of the day. The light at dusk is different. The neighborhood sounds different. You may find, as many people do, that the walk you began as a health tool becomes something you look forward to, something you protect. Dolores walks every evening now. She has a particular route, 14 minutes exactly, she told me, down to the old oak tree at the end of the park road and back. She started wearing a headscarf in the autumn cold, and she says she started noticing things she'd never noticed in years of living in the same neighborhood. A particular house with lavender growing through the fence. A cat that appears on the same wall every Thursday. The sky doing something extraordinary at dusk when the clouds are low. She told me, "I thought I was walking for my blood sugar. Turns out, I was walking for my life." There is a truth in that sentence that goes beyond biology. Because here is what aging can quietly steal if we let it. Our relationship with the world outside our own four walls. Our appetite for the unexpected detail. Our willingness to be in motion, even slowly, even with aching knees, even when the shoes aren't right. A 2,000-step walk after dinner is not a medical intervention. It is an act of participation. It says, I am still in this world. I am still moving through it. I am still noticing what it offers. Your blood sugar comes down. Your arteries breathe. Your cells age a little slower. And somewhere between your door and the old oak tree, you remember that the evening air still smells of something worth breathing, and that there are still things in the world worth walking toward.
Post-prandial glucose, the blood sugar surge that follows every meal, is a silent driver of cardiovascular disease, cognitive decline, and accelerated aging in adults over 60. Walking 2,000 steps, approximately 15 minutes at a gentle pace, within 30 minutes of eating, engages the leg muscle's glucose transporters independent of insulin and can reduce post-meal blood sugar spikes by up to 58%. It costs nothing, it requires no equipment, and it begins working from the very first evening you tried. Dolores dropped 56 points off her glucose peak with the same meal. The walk she started for her blood sugar became the walk she takes for her life. Yours is waiting outside your front door.
Everything shared on the art of aging is for informational and storytelling purposes only and does not constitute medical advice. If you have type 1 or type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, or any condition affecting your ability to exercise safely, consult your physician before changing your post-meal activity routine. Blood sugar management is a medical matter. Your doctor is your partner. Tonight, 15 minutes after dinner, put your shoes on and walk. That's all. And tomorrow, share this episode with one person you know who is struggling with their blood sugar, their weight, or their energy. It may be the most useful 15 minutes they ever receive. Follow @Art of Aging Podcast and leave us a review if this show is changing how you see this chapter of your life.